Every place in the Bayali and you get out of
Okay.
Okay. Alive?
Yeah.
Alive. Now we're just waiting for Danny Durante. Yeah. Wasn't ready to come over. Because nobody expected a man. It had been a man for a few years. And then I made it, turned around, he was standing. Put the siddur on top of his hand, put the handkerchief, the siddur on top of his hand. And he said this to who said the nigga. For a man, he's very nigga. It's very emotional. It get very emotional. Dollars?
No, did afterwards.
There was a mimer, Achashon Pesach, very short mimer, and then Eresh Shavuos, and that was it. But this was last one, the name. It was like a, it was very special. That's Dennis. It's certain things you stuck in your memory, you know. Want to see if that's the guy? Is that Danny?
Says he's at the back doors. He just sent the text, he's at the back doors.
First we'll close his text and we'll get it.
Huh?
Back doors probably means over here. It's probably him
Yeah.
buzzing it. So go over and
Daddy's here.
Danny's here.
Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How you doing, my little man? You looking good. You go up here yet? This is my girl, Alexandra.
You here, Danny?
I'm here, Rabbi.
You are here.
How you doing, my friend?
Hi, Alexandra. How you doing? Welcome. Come on in.
How you doing, sir? Good.
Alexandra, you like stickers? You like stickers? There's a whole bunch of nice fuzzy alphabets for you. Okay? You're very welcome.
Stand here.
Alexandra, your daddy's doing us a big favor now. Because in our faith, there's certain things we're not supposed to own during this week called Passover. So your daddy's doing us the favor of buying all these things so we can be able to keep our religion. I'm proud of him. Get that? Okay, Danny, we've done this many times already, but nonetheless, I want to
Just hold it for now.
Okay. We're going to go everything over now in detail, just to refresh our memories and make sure we know what's going on over here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is people who have empowered me. This is the last guy who just left. Have empowered me to sell the chametz on their behalf. We'll define chametz in a moment. I'm just going to add this. There's a package of all the people who have empowered me. And here you have a package of many, many different documents, really from many places in the world, right? This is Rabbi Shachet's documentation. Here's his own house written down, the own details. And those are the people who asked him to sell on their behalf. Here we have a lot of Aurora. What we have from Peachtree near Atlanta, in Georgia. Okay, he sent me a list of all the chametz he signed for him. Here we have chametz up from the Woods area. Here we have chametz from the Richmond Hill area, the Markham area. This is from Maple. Here we have from Connecticut, Westport, Connecticut. Here we have from Midtown, Toronto. This is from Devon, Pennsylvania. And then this was sent by the local office Chabad Gate. So from really all over the city. And there's many other people who sent me from different places. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. And all of this is going to be included in the sale. Good. All right, so let's just do a little quick refresher. Chametz is anything that comes from the 5 grains. The 5 grains have a chemical inside them, which is called AMB, or sometimes called AMD, depending on which particular grain it is, lacy, L-A-C-Y. And when it comes in contact with water, or anything which is alkaline-based, it triggers a chemical process, which we call fermentation. In Hebrew, it's called chimutz, which is the verb for the noun chametz. Chametz in Hebrew means anything which is leavened. The Torah prohibits us from owning leaven during this week of Passover. And for us outside of Israel, it's 8 days. So basically we have 2 options. I could either destroy all the chametz, which many people do, and there's a big fire going on now down on Clark Street. We're going to be heading afterwards to burn our leftover chametz. And the other option is, because it's very challenging, people have refrigerators and freezers and pantries that are full, and you have to eat until this morning, and then all of a sudden everything goes cold turkey. So already centuries ago, we developed this idea where a person who's not Jewish, but is a good friend of our community, like yourself, will come and actually purchase all of this chametz. And that's what this is about. I'm going to read the document here, very, very long and detailed legal document before I sign it. I'm going to read it to you, translate it as I go. This is your document. You're welcome to take it to an official translator. You can pay him to translate it. See if I told you anything it doesn't say over here. But okay, my signature on the bottom of this document, which I will affix after we make what's called a kinyan. We'll go through different kinds of acquisition. Should serve as, or use a proverbial number, as 100 witnesses. 100 witnesses would be a way of establishing the truth that I, the undersigned, who come by power of attorney, of all of the people whose names are written and attached to this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to attach, before I give this document to you, I'm going to attach all these documents to it. So everybody in here who has empowered me, I'm acting in good faith on their stead. And this includes also certain documentation that for one reason or another didn't reach us. So I know there are certain rabbis who are counting on me to act on their stead. It's possible they sent the fax and it didn't come through. It's possible they sent an email and maybe someone got lost in cyberspace, but they intended to empower me. And legally, like they empowered me, even if the documentation is not here, they did empower me. You also have to know that there are some people who meant to fill out the forms, who never filled it out, but they have every intention of me acting on their stead. Or the same is true with many of the other rabbis in the city, including the elder Rabbi Shochat, who people had meant to ask him, and for whatever reason didn't get around to it. Okay, this includes all of those things. We're including so anybody who wanted to sell, maybe people who sold chametz last year, and they forgot to fill it out this year, but certainly they would want that to be the case. So all of these things, whether they were lost or given over verbally, somebody said, "Yo, Rabbi, sell my chametz for me." Legally, that's good enough. This also includes those who wanted to give their documentation, those who used to give documentation and this year forgot. For all of these people, I have full legal permission and standing to act in their stead. They're asking me that I do for them, which is beneficial, and it's beneficial for a Jew to observe Passover. That brings us God's blessings. And to sell the chametz to you, who's a wonderful, fantastic fellow, but you're not Jewish. And therefore, for you, God has no such expectations of you that he has of myself and all of my fellow co-religionists whose names are attached over here. This includes all kinds of chametz. Now I explain to you what chametz is. Right? You understand it, Alexandra? Understand? You know what grain is? Give me an example of grain you know. You're a smart girl. Wheat. You know what wheat is? You like bread? Pizza? Pasta? Cake? Cookies? Pretzels? Wraps? They're all made with wheat. Some of them made with oats. You like oatmeal? Never tried it. Danny, why should you try oatmeal?
Mini wheats.
Mini wheat cereal. All these things are made with flour. Remember that process I talked about when water comes in contact with flour? Do you ever see dough get made? Ever see how bread's made?
Mini pizza.
Yeah, you guys are Italian, you know, you need the pizza, right? Does your mom make pizza sometimes from scratch? Yes, your dad, huh? Because he's the real Italiano, right? So when he takes flour and mixes it with water and he kneads it together, you know what happens if you leave that dough alone? It rises. It rises. It actually gets, it explodes, it expands like that. And when that expands, what happens is, it's called in Hebrew, chametz. Okay, see, this is people who now just filled this out, right? I could see from the thing, they took a picture with their phone and they emailed it, right? It's not scanned it and faxed it. So I'm just adding that to here, but there's gonna be people, like I know these people, they're from our community. I know that there's people who meant to do that, who wanted to do that, but for whatever reason they didn't get around to do that. So all these people are empowering me to sell their chametz. Right? You understand, Alexander? So your dad's buying thousands of boxes of cereal, pasta, cookies, all kinds of things. There's even dough in freezers, like phyllo dough, and your dad's going to be the proud owner of it. He's got more locations he's going to be renting than you could possibly imagine. All across the city, across the country. I have chametz here from Halifax, from the Maritime provinces, from all over the place. We have here from Alberta. We have here from London, Ontario, Kingston. It's all in here. And all locations, and the locations, most of them say the details. You show up, and you want, come inside, I'd like to see my chametz, of course you can. So all of these things, which I have the permission to sell, but this includes all kinds of chametz. Or maybe something which we don't even know if it's chametz. Maybe it's a mixture of chametz. Maybe it's a suspicious mixture. Maybe somebody has pets. Different kind of animals that need to feed their pets, and they leave food for them, but the food is chametz. So like dog biscuits, that's still edible if you're desperate, right? Somebody has dog biscuits, he could sell their dog, load them up with biscuits, and your dad owns a bunch of dogs now. He has new pets for you. They're all eating biscuits. This includes also any kinds of utensils which have chametz that got attached to them. So maybe somebody's got a microwave, maybe somebody left something in the microwave. Or maybe there's an oven, and maybe there's pots and pans. When there's actually residual, it's not normal to buy something residual. Would imagine you were starving, you'd eat anything. You'd lick it off a pot if you could. So all these things which people have given me permission to sell, Erev Pesach, this is the day before Pesach, which is today, as well as all of the places where the chametz are, we're going to be renting to you all of those places, and including the places where there's chametz, or there is vessels or artifacts in which the chametz is standing, or the places where those animals or pets are. They're chicken farmers that might be included here. I didn't go through every single paper. There are all kinds of things that are possible. And people have given me permission to do this in the way that I see fitting. And so, I'm going to, as of today, as of this morning, and the clock's ticking, we gotta get this done within the next 15-20 minutes, I'm going to be selling you all of the chametz of all these places, and that includes the chametz here in the Chabad Flamingo Community Center, which we call Chabad Flamingo, and here you can see it in English, 8001 Bathurst Street in Thornhill, Ontario. I wrote as outlined, I penned in as outlined in attached document Schedule A. Attached document Schedule A. Here you have the chametz contract for 8001 Bathurst. Here's the sold locations. The room next to the elevator, the coffee station, the main kitchens, dairy, and meat, except for a pathway to the large walk-in cooler because we have a public Seder tonight, a public dinner tonight, so we needed the cooler. So we cleaned out the area of the cooler. It was checked, there's no chametz. There's a divider put up, and on the other side, all of that is yours. There's a youth closet, a lot of youth programming here. There's all kind of candy and stuff, pretzels, chips, it's all sold. These marked off portions of the storage area we call the Prime Minister's office. Because when the Prime Minister came here 10 years ago, he had to stay in a room. That's a storage room now, we call it the PM's office. Fagie's office, right next door, which we're actually going to do the acquisition right by the door. And you're going to acquire that actually office, I'm going to give you the keys. There's a marked off portion of Sterney's drawers in the front. Chana's the bookkeeper's drawers. You have the closet in Rabbi Yossi's office next door. You have the upper compartments of the workplace credenza. It's right here. See where it says chametz? And also I wrote in the lower cabinet of the bookshelf there. See where it's at, wrote chametz over there? The bottom.
Yep.
Underneath the bookshelf, underneath where the holy books are, you see that?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. There's a classroom that's next to the baby room. We have a baby room where people nurse, a little classroom over there. I can show it to you on your way out. And there's the classroom across from the toilet rack, which is marked with tape, closets in the washroom, closets in the classroom, the freight elevator, and the storage area on top of the stairs, except for the space storing the floor machine. So that's in Schedule A. And then the chametz that's also in my own home, which is on Highcliffe Drive, and here I wrote it in, see it in English, 461 Highcliffe Ave, right? For Ontario, or for J. And I wrote here, the northwest corner of the garage. So I have a bunch of stuff in the kitchen I took in of it, it's kind of cordoned off. The washroom vanities under the sink, the dishwasher, the china closet in the dining room, the kitchen cabinets, the fridge, the microwave, the barbecue. And in the garage, there's a small freezer, which is, there's a fridge and freezer. I cleaned out the fridge, I use the fridge, but the freezer is taped off on top. So you're renting that area, okay? All of these are being sold as of today, right here. Here we are in the city of Vaughan, city above Toronto, or as it wrote in Hebrew, next to Toronto, to a wonderful gentleman who is not Jewish, and that's yourself. And I wrote your name Danny, but I wrote also your legal name was Damiano. Is that your daddy's name? Durante. And you live at 281 Brighton Avenue in Toronto, Ontario, M3H 4G9. Okay. So this sale is absolute, total, and irrevocable. There's absolutely no conditions attached to the sale whatsoever. That means any kind of chametz, any possible mixture of chametz, any chametz which is being sold is without, whether it has, the chametz is hardened, because what happens is when you have that Amy B. Lacey come in contact with the alkaline, it triggers this process of fermentation. It starts to rise. So there's three ways to stop that process. One way is to bake it or cook it or boil it. Extreme heat kills the chemicals, they can never rise again. That's what matzah is. It's what was needed with flour and water, is killed. Another way to do that is to freeze it. But when you freeze it, it actually is still alive. It can be brought, it thaws, and it comes back to life, right? And then there are different processes through which we can retard the process of rising. That's called chametz noksha, hardened chametz, which means it never really became regular edible chametz, but it's still considered a form of chametz. So any kind of chametz, whether this is prohibited biblically, and there are many things which are biblically prohibited, as I outlined. Some things are only prohibited by dint of rabbinic ordination. For example, whiskey. Whiskey is made of fermented oats or fermented grains. But it's not really dough, it's not flour. So there's a big question about this in rabbinic response, so whether it is prohibited, not prohibited. The bottom line we would say is it's not biblically prohibited, possibly, but certainly rabbinically prohibited on Passover. So people have sold you closets full of alcohol. They've sold you closets full of beer. But that's included because that's only rabbinic. Sometimes there are things which are not even really chametz. They're not actually prohibited, but we get stringent. We go the extra mile. So that means any kind of, for example, grain, like raw grain. Like I have a bag of oatmeal. Like I sometimes eat hot oatmeal. It's not actual chametz. But I mix it with water and make the oatmeal, right? But the truth is that a lot of the stuff gets rinsed, and it may have well come in contact with water. So we don't know what it is in that. We just sell any kind of groats or grains or anything like that, or cream of wheat, anything which has chametz mixed into it, a possibility of chametz, whether it's raw, whether it's baked, whether it's cooked, whether it's roasted, whether it's fried, whether it's pickled, whether it's pickled and cooked, any kind of alcohol which is made, grain-based alcohol, which includes whiskey, beer, or vodka, or anything else like that. Whether it has a mixture of chametz, sometimes you have a drink that has a mixture of alcohol, even a very small percentage. Whether it's raw, plain chametz, whether it's something which is mixed in with sweeteners, which are used for human consumption or to feed animals, or whether it's used for drinking, or maybe sometimes used for purposes of medicine. So it's not food per se, but like kids take those vitamins. You take vitamins, Alexandra? Yeah? Those little colored vitamins?
The Flintstones vitamins.
The Flintstone vitamins?
Gummies.
He
You used to, eh? That tastes good? Not so good, huh? It wasn't really food, but you could eat it. So it's made for medicinal purposes. It's made to keep you healthy, but you could eat it. So that might have, for example, grain inside, or grain-based alcohol. That's something we'll be selling as well. So you got all kinds of painkillers, vitamins that are loaded up in people's washroom vanities and kitchen cabinets. Whether it's made for any kind of benefit. For example, there are certain cosmetic products which are made with a very heavy alcohol base. And during the Prohibition years, people used to drink perfume. So not all it's poison. So if it's any kind of soap any kind of toothpaste, we even including here glue, which might remotely be possible to eat, or dye, or something that has a mixture of chametz, whether it's pure chametz or hardened chametz. We're including all the animals who are actually going to be eating chametz, and we're responsible for those animals. So even though if I had a dog, my dog wouldn't be Jewish. You can't be Jewish if you're an animal, right? It's a human thing. But nonetheless, that dog is my responsibility. That cat's my responsibility. So he doesn't have a mitzvah to eat matzah, but I'd have to feed him non-kosher, kosher for Passover food. Otherwise, I'm benefiting from the chametz. Not only can we not eat the chametz, we can't own it or benefit from it. This includes also any businesses. There are lots of businesses here. There are people who have sold, actually they have huge businesses that sell chametz. There are bakeries included here. There are people who sell alcohol or whiskey. So all of this is being included, and they're including also the machinery. And some of the places, there are people here who have sold factories where they produce food, mass amounts of food, but they didn't close it, but they just shut the factory down. Or some of them even have factories going. That's usually what the COR deals with. I don't deal with that. I'm dealing with usually private people. But still, anything which has chametz attached to it, here's the rule, and I'm translating. Whatever I could possibly say, whatever I could possibly think, that it should be in any way, shape, or form, the slightest question of maybe this is chametz, that all of these, everything mentioned, every single location that's outlined in all of these, we have thousands of documents here, in all of these documents, and in all of the other places, be they out in the field, be they in the high seas, be they on dry land, whether it's in the air, whether it's in the post. So if the mail sends something to me and they didn't deliver the package yet, but really it's mine already. So that's included too. And the things that will come to us maybe during Passover. Maybe I got a shipment from somebody. Maybe somebody sent me a gift. And it's going to arrive on the third day of Passover, on the seventh day of Passover, and it's chametz. So I want you to know, if it's something that I own, I don't even know I own it yet, I'm selling that too. That'll be included in the sale. We'll have to figure that out. Whenever you know, the final price gets worked out, but that's not going to be with me. That's going to be with Rabbi Kabesa here, who's visiting us from Jerusalem. And Rabbi Kabesa, when I read this other document, he basically is who I will be going to the money for. You and I will have no further dealings. Our sale is done and irrevocable. And this is all of the things till the end of Passover of this year. Whether there are different kinds of chametz, whether they're ours fully, whether ours partially, there could be stocks and bonds, there could be people who own shares in the Bisco or something like that. All of these things are being sold now according to whatever the value is in this city of Vaughan. Now I know maybe certain food, if you bring it to Venezuela now, it's going to fetch a higher price because people unfortunately are starving in the street. And here it's not, but I'm not charging you Venezuela prices, okay? Like I'm charging you Thornhill prices, Vaughan prices, Toronto prices, whatever would be sold over here, way it is now. So that would be included in this sale. And I want to tell you something, Danny. If there, God forbid, would be some kind of terrible event here, where all of a sudden food goes scarce, and the food that was worth $5 is now worth $50, you stand to make a lot of money. That's your food. You have the full right and permission to say to everybody, sorry guys, that's my food, don't touch it. You want food? Pay me. Because we're selling you by the value of it is today, the day before Passover. Like I said, if it's $5, then it's $5. If it's $2, it's $2. If it's $20, it's $20. Whatever it is. Regardless of what happens afterwards, if you decide to sell this for a higher price, either on Passover or after Passover, it's your business. We go by the price that this could fetch here. And it's self-understood that an unopened bottle of macaroni, a box of macaroni, or an open bag of box of macaroni fetches a smaller price. Self-understood. Half-eaten box of Cheerios is not the same as a closed box of Cheerios. Got that. So whatever the price is going to be of in this city, that people might buy and take to another place to make a profit on it. Whatever. That's not my business. The bottom line is any chametz, any question of chametz, and anything which doesn't have an exact price, there'll be 3 business people. I know you've been in the food industry ever since when? How long? Since you're a teenager. Huh?
30 years.
30 years. So you got some experience. Yeah? You can look at a box of macaroni and tell me what it's worth, right? You know what it can go for. But we're gonna choose this, like you're partial there because you're part of the sale. So we'll choose maybe some of your buddies from No Frills, from Loblaws Corporation, or other people who know what food is, and I'm going to choose these people actually. Because you're going to choose your friends, and they might tell you it's worth less. I'm going to choose 3 people, and whatever they'll say, they'll say, or maybe, you know, if I'm incapacitated, God forbid, somebody might come along on my behalf and choose these 3 people, and the price that they're going to give, we'll make sure it's objective, but the objective price, that's the price that you'll be paying in the end. And included in this is also all of the places for chametz, which really, it's like impossible to sell. If I come to somebody and say, I want to sell you the macaroni that's hardened to my pot. I say, yeah, do you mind? Who's buying that? Oh, if it was a war and a famine, maybe somebody, okay, fine. Even the things that right now, in today's day and age, we can't even fathom that would be sold, you're doing us the good favor of buying that and taking care of that for us. And you, the person who's mentioned here, and gives is going to be giving, so to speak, this document. These are the deals. All right, now the money that's going to be coming from you for all this chametz, whatever the final money that you would have to pay, I'm agreeing to subtract $500. So whether the final price is $30,000, $50,000, $100,000, whatever it's going to be, $500 I'm waiving, that you should make automatic profit. So you're paying $500 less. And this the same is true for this is you're paying, and we're including now whatever the costs of rental, which we're going to talk about in a minute, where the places are, or applicable taxes, which we may not have figured out. And we'll have to figure that out, and that'll be included in the price. You'll be the bottom price, and when all that's done, I'm taking $500 off that. And this is going to be something which will be established somewhere in the next 12 days. About 3 days after Passover, the final price will be fully negotiated and everything. But that I will have no longer any dealings with you. I'll be going to Rabbi Kabesa for the money. But that's when we'll have the final price in order. Now, because I really appreciate you doing this, I'm prepared to take 97 cents on the dollar. So we're subtracting another 3% from every $100. So from every $100, I'll take $97. From each $100. So we're going increments of 100. Every time we reach 100, I take $3 less. And you keep that as well. Now you have permission, because this sale is completed and irrevocable momentarily. You have permission to sell this to anybody you want now. You can sell it this afternoon. You could sell it during Passover. You don't have to wait. The fact that you have some to figure out and pay up Rabbi Kabesa, who will eventually pay me, that has nothing to do with the actual sale. The sale is complete and irrevocable. And if another Gentile comes along and he says, I want to buy that food, you could sell it to him. If a Jew comes after the holiday, you could sell it to him. And you, or whoever you sell to, has full rights to enter into any one of these people. Any one of these people who has empowered us now has to officially allow you, and you knock on the door, and you say, can I see my chametz? I'd like to come into the places I rented. It could be a china closet. Well, people rent P.O. boxes. It could be a home. Some people have gone on vacation. You've gone to Florida for Passover. You own the whole home. Any one of these places you have the right to enter at any point, because you've rented these places and you rent all the machinery or vessels or whatever is there is all there. Now I'm going to give you the keys to this building and to Feigi's office. I'm going to give you those keys, and that's part of the acquisition. But you can come into this building anytime you want, any time of day or night. You can go into Feigi's office, or actually it's the master key I'm going to give you. You can go into any of the offices, any of the doors here. You can open them any of the places where there's chametz. You have full right to come. I would not be allowed to disallow you from entering. Now we're going to be doing various acts of acquisition to seal this deal, as the way people do business. For example, we're going to shake hands. We're going to do the keys. You're going to be paying money, and I'm going to receive from you full payment. And the payment will come in the form of you're handing me $1,000 cash. In addition to the $1,000 cash, you're going to hand me this document. This document essentially is a check. It's like a blank check, because it says that I can take this document and take Rabbi Kabesa to court and get every single penny of the value from it. I will never be asking you for any more money. I've already asked you for all the money I'm going to ask you for. You're going to pay me $1,000 now for the chametz. You're also going to give us an additional $1,000 for the rental. And if the rental is higher, I can't ask you for anything anymore. I will have to ask Rabbi Kabesa. He will probably come after you. He's got some powerful friends, so I'm not worried about him. He's fine. But he'll come after you, but I won't be coming to you. And this, of course, is going to be all after he has entered into an agreement, a legal agreement, and there was witnesses that saw this, and he also waived something called a sudar. It's a kinyan of a sudar, the acquisition of sudar, and that acquisition he is formally bound now, legally bound, to pay me any of the money or the people here, any of the money that they're owed. Of course, after subtracting the 3%, $3 for every 100, and the $500. And these people who have empowered me to sell the chametz, well, they have to accept those conditions, because one of the conditions is that they empower me to sell it the way I understand and I see best fit. And I know that you're not going to come here for no reason, and I know you're a businessman, so I'm taking upon myself to subtract that 3% as well as the $500. Now you're also going to give me another $1,000, as mentioned. That'll be serving as the rental. And from now, all of these places and all of these items are going to be becoming yours without any kind of condition whatsoever. This is an unconditional, irrevocable sale. I can't have any complaints to you. I can't. In fact, you can. If I ever ask you about this deal, you could say, "Excuse me, I'm not interested in talking to you. I have no right to ask you. I waive any right to come after you for anything. If I need money, if people are screaming at me that their food is gone and where's the money, I can go, Rabbi Kabesa, please give me the money. I'll take him to court, but I can never ask you for anything. And all of the money, which will come to you for buying these things, and so on and so forth, you're going to sell the chametz. You have a responsibility to pay Rabbi Kabesa. He's the guy you're going to have to deal with now. So you make money, you pay him for the money. If the chametz is worth $100, you're a good businessman, and you sold it for $200, you have to pay him $97. That's all you have to pay him. You made yourself $103 profit, but I'm going to come after him for that $97. So he is going to be on the receiving end from you. Not a single penny will come to me from you anymore. Not a single penny, not a red cent. I have no complaint to you whatsoever. So, if you decide that you want to sell this to Jewish people, you don't find any Gentiles sell to during Pesach, sell to Jewish people after Passover, in order to make that money, or maybe somebody will show up, that's fine. That's or if you don't want to do that, you can undo a deal, whatever you want, with your what he's called Arav Kablan, with your Kablan man. He's the person. But as far as I'm concerned, we have nothing to talk about. I am waiving my rights to undo any deal. This is an irrevocable sale that is absolutely unquestionable. Final sale. Nothing to talk about. COD, as they say. This also includes the rental. So the rental of all these places where all the chametz is found is actually all transferable over to you, and the rent, you're renting it now for 12 days. Now, how will we figure out what that is? So, we take a look at what it costs, the rental of a month, what it would cost, and we'll figure out how much that would be for 12 days. But that would be, again, the amount of money that people pay for rent, and I'm going to be receiving this down payment for the rental, which is probably more than $1,000, probably significantly more, but we're giving $1,000, which includes a modicum of every single one of the individuals that we're representing at the rate. A modicum of money is like 2-3 cents, right? So count out how many times 2-3 cents. If it goes to $1,000, it's significant. And for the rest of the money, for the rest of the sale, I'm getting this document. This paper is worth its weight in gold and then some. This is a blank check. Now, the figuring out exactly what the rentals cost and so on and so forth, and the places where the pets are, and all of these things, we have to, you'll figure that out. We'll work out the details. But again, that's not with me. You work out those details. You deal with Rabbi Kabesa. I won't be dealing with you. If anybody doesn't allow you permission to enter their premises, their property, is you crazy? Say, I'm Danny Durante. I brought you chametz. I don't know who you are. You don't know who I am. You empowered Rabbi Kaplan, and he sold the chametz to me, and they say, we're not letting you in. Well, I'm telling you, you legally have the right to break their locks. You can kick the doors down, you can break the locks, you can do anything that's possible, and they can't take any legal action against you, because you are the rightful owner. And they do not have the right to bar you from a place that's legally and rightfully yours. Now, here's the interesting thing. In Jewish law and jurisprudence, if you purchase a property, and by acquiring the property, you can also acquire the various things that are in the property. So So, for example, you buy a house with furniture or pantries that are full. You could say if you paid for the house and the furniture, once you acquired the house, let's say, for example, by taking a key and locking the door or building a fence around it, then what's called agav, along with the property, you would also acquire the movables. So that's how you're acquiring the chametz as well. Now, if one of our acts of acquisition, for whatever reason, is disqualified or doesn't work, so then the other act of acquisition works. And the bottom line is that there should be no possible questioning about this document. If something's wrong with this document, if it's in some way imperfect, if something's missing, it will always be interpreted legally. I'm waiving my rights that this document always be interpreted in favor of the buyer, not the seller. Always be interpreted. Any question will always be interpreted in your favor, of the buyer, and of ensuring that the sale goes through. You have full permission to take this document. You can bring it to any legal translator you want. You can have this fully translated. You can anything which is connected to anything about this contract. This is any of the laws of the Confederation of Canada or the Province of Ontario. That we submit to any of those laws to make this document valid and binding. And this applies both to the rental as well as the actual sale of the chametz. Now, to prove that I'm serious about all these things, I'm going to sign this document. Today is Friday, the 6th day of the week. We call it Erev Shabbat. This is the 14th day of the Hebrew month of Nisan, and this is the year 5779 since creation, as the Bible ordains it. And we are here in the city of Vaughan, which is adjacent to Toronto. Okay, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to fill in the rest of this line here. So you see, it's a legal document. Nobody can add anything else. That's filled in over here. And on the bottom, I'm going to fix my signature. Now, before I do that, I want to read this document so you understand what this means. This says that this document is also like 100 witnesses that whatever money is owed by the non-Jew, Danny Durante, I wrote your name in English, to myself, and here's my name in Hebrew. My name is Menachem Mendel, my father's name, with my last name Kaplan, for all of the chametz which you have bought. That includes the pets, that includes all the things that we talked about, which you have purchased with a full acquisition and an absolute irrevocable sale. That as we have discussed, as explained in this contract, that this is Rabbi Shai Shalom Kabesa, is taking upon himself the responsibility to indemnify me for any money I'm owed, no less than 3 days after the Passover of this year, which is 5779 from creation. And he has to give me cash. I don't want to hear stories. Don't give me stocks and bonds. Don't give me options. Cash. I want cash from him, and he'll come after you. That's his business, how he gets it from you. But this will be after the measuring, the weighing, whatever is if you sell it to others, if you don't sell it, but however that works, you keep it. Bottom line is you have to pay. So you are going to, Rabbi Kabesa here takes it upon himself to make sure that I will be indemnified for everything fully. Unless, I decide otherwise. I have the right to decide otherwise. But unless I decide otherwise, if I want the money, he is making himself responsible. He's also making himself responsible in this document to indemnify me for any of the rentals, for all of, whether they be pet kennels or farms or homes, any of the rentals also. And this is going to go, as we figure it out what it's worth every month, and he's accepted upon himself with the Kinyan, which is Agav Sudar, and he signed this Friday, 14th day of Nisan, 577th time of creation here in the city of Vaughan. And we could finish this line off. Nobody can add anything. And he signed his name, Shai Shalom, the son of Yosef Kabesa. You got that? Yep. Okay, good. So we're ready to start this. Okay, so now, Danny, let me receive from you the payment. I'd like to receive from you $1,000, and the $1,000 I want to receive from you is, first and foremost, we're doing the rental. Okay, we're doing a rental for the places, and then after that, I'm going to receive from you the cash for the actual chametz. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it to me. So I'm receiving this cash from you now on behalf of the rentals for all the places that we're gonna be renting out. Now that I've received the cash, so that rental is gonna be kind of complete. By the way, this paper belongs to you, you have to pay with it. You give me the paper. That's how it is, okay. So now you've paid for the cash, now I'm gonna ask you for $1,000 for the actual chametz itself.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So this is another $1,000. With this $1,000, this is the down payment for the actual chametz that you're gonna be purchasing. Okay, so I have a down payment of $1,000 for the rentals. I have a down payment of $1,000 for the chametz, and I'm gonna ask you now for a blank check to pay for the rest. So I'm receiving this blank check from you, and with this blank check, I am paid in full. I am paid in full. Now, in order to make sure that this is a full, so to speak, deal, now now that the deal is done, I'm gonna sign this now. Okay, so I have signed this. I've signed this document. The document now goes, so to speak, live. I've received all the payment from you. Let's shake on the deal. Shake on the full deal. I'm also going to give you the keys. This is the master key. This is the key to the building. So any doors that don't open, like the Prime Minister's office, other doors, this is the front door master key will open. And this is the key that will open Feigi's office, which you're going to be purchasing. I will walk around there to purchase, or any of the other rooms where this chametz sold. This key will be able to open that for you. So I'm handing you the keys, and that's part of the acquisition that we're going to be making. Okay, and at this point, I'm going to take all of these documents. Gotta wrap it up. Does everyone get some tape? See, nobody else's office should be tape. So once I hand off all these documents to you, these of course are all yours, and at this point you can open this up, check it out, do this. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, it's the contract. You see my name signed at the bottom. This is the contract, and I'm handing now, along with the keys, all the contracts. Here is all the documentation of all the places that you now own. Now, if we can use your keys, I want Alexandra, come with your dad. Take. Danny, bring that thing along. Okay, so see we have Facebook Live. Everybody can see what you're doing. Danny, I want you to walk around this room, acquiring it. You walk back. You see over there, there's like comments over there.
Yep, I see it.
Okay, so this is your office now. This is your office in our building. If you want to put your documents here, you can store your documents here.
I'm gonna put them with the chametz alcohol.
Oh, okay, fine. So that's your documents. And Alexandra, give you that the key. He's gonna lock the door. Actually, it locks by itself. You can turn the light off if you want, and lock the door. And in doing so, good.
Okay, Alexander, we're gonna lock the door, okay? All right, everything's checked, right? Okay. Closed, locked.
Amazing.
Keys. Okay. You hold them.
So, Danny, that concludes our dealings. It's been a pleasure doing business with you.
Pleasure doing business with
I
you.
look forward to doing business with you for many, many happy years.
Good. Thank you very much.
Enjoy your holidays,
Thank you.
and thanks to you, we'll enjoy ours.
Yes.
And nice to meet you, Alexandra. Okay, we're done. Rabbi Kabesa may be coming after you, but that's from this point on onward, I'm only gonna deal with him with this, we're done, like they said.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank you again.
Take care, God bless.
Do you want to borrow my key?
You know, if I could borrow your keys, I'd appreciate it, because I need to get into some places.
Would you like to borrow this key?
I'd like to borrow your key. That's
Would
nice of you, thank
Would
you.
you like to borrow this key?
Can I borrow it?
Yes, you can.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
No
I'll
problem.
keep it in good stead, you need to choose.
I always trusted you. As long as you're borrowing them, but we know who owns them. Right? Okay. Say thank you to everybody and say happy Passover. Okay?
Thank you, enjoy your stickers.
Thank you.